Have you ever been told that the only way to fix your blood sugar is to give up carbs forever? No bread, no rice, no potatoes, no fruit, no oatmeal, no favorite meals with your family. Just fear, restriction, and a plate that feels more like punishment than food. But what if I told you that the real secret to better blood sugar may not be about removing everything you love, but adding the right foods that help your body handle sugar again? That may sound too simple, but stay with me, because this is where most people get it wrong. High blood sugar is not just a carb problem. It is usually a communication problem inside your body. Your cells are not listening to insulin the way they used to. Your blood sugar rises, your pancreas works harder, and before long, you are told your numbers are getting worse and another medication may be next. I have seen that fear on the faces of so many patients. The fear of losing control. The fear of ending up like a parent, a sibling, or a friend who struggled with diabetes complications. The fear that every meal is now a threat. Hi, I'm Dr. D. Miller. I have spent nearly 14 years helping patients understand what is really happening inside their bodies, not just chasing symptoms with one more pill. And this is Health with Dr. D. Miller. Today, I want to show you a different way to think about food and blood sugar. In this video, I am going to walk you through 10 powerful foods that can help support healthier blood sugar by doing 3 important things. Some of them slow down how quickly sugar enters your bloodstream after a meal. Some help calm the hidden inflammation that makes your cells resistant to insulin. And some help your insulin receptors respond better, so your own body can start doing the job it was designed to do. Now let me be clear. I am not telling you to stop your medication, ignore your doctor, or believe in some miracle cure. That is not what we do here. What I am telling you is that food is not just calories. Food sends instructions. Every bite can either make your blood sugar roller coaster worse, or it can help bring your system back toward balance. And the most surprising part? The last food on this list is actually a carbohydrate. Yes, a carbohydrate. But when you use it the right way, it may help your blood sugar more than many so-called diabetic snacks sitting in your pantry right now. Now, before I show you the first food, I need you to understand what is really happening inside your body. Because once you see this clearly, blood sugar finally starts to make sense. Most people are told a very simple story. You ate sugar, so your blood sugar went up. You ate carbs, so your blood sugar went up. And while that can be partly true, it is not the whole story. The deeper problem usually begins with a hormone called insulin. Think of insulin like a key. Its job is to unlock the doors of your cells, so glucose, the sugar in your blood, can move out of the bloodstream and into the cell, where it can be used for energy. When your body is working well, you eat a meal, glucose rises a little, insulin shows up, the cell opens the door, and everything stays under control. But after years of stress, poor sleep, processed foods, belly fat, inflammation, and constant blood sugar spikes, something changes. The insulin still knocks, but the cell does not answer the way it used to. It is almost like the cell has turned down the volume. Insulin is calling, but the message is not getting through. That is what we call insulin resistance. And when that happens, your pancreas has to work harder. It pushes out more insulin, then even more, trying desperately to force glucose into the cells. At first, your blood sugar may look only slightly high. Maybe your doctor says you are borderline. Maybe they say you are pre-diabetic. Maybe they tell you to watch your diet and come back in 3 months. But inside your body, the struggle has already started. Your pancreas is working overtime. Your cells are ignoring the signal. And glucose is staying in the blood longer than it should. This is why simply cutting carbs does not always fix the root problem. Yes, eating fewer refined carbs may lower the amount of glucose coming in. But if your cells are still resistant to insulin, the underlying communication problem is still there. What we want to do is not punish the body. We want to retrain it. We want to help your meals work with your biology again, and that is where the right foods become powerful. Some foods act like a brake. They slow down how quickly carbohydrates leave your stomach and enter your bloodstream, so you do not get that sudden spike after eating. Some foods help cool the silent inflammation that interferes with insulin signaling, and some foods help the insulin receptor respond better, almost like cleaning out a rusty lock so the key can turn again. This is the part most people never hear in a 12-minute doctor visit. Food is not just something that fills your stomach. Food sends instructions to your metabolism. The wrong foods can make your blood sugar roller coaster steeper, but the right foods can slow the climb, calm the crash, and help your cells start listening again. And here is the good news. You do not have to change everything tomorrow. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to eat like a monk or fear every bite of carbohydrate. You start by adding 1 or 2 of the right foods, then stacking them slowly until your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks begin pushing your body in the right direction. So now that you understand the real problem, let's start with the first food, because it is small, cheap, easy to overlook, and far more powerful than most people realize. The first food is fenugreek seeds, and I know the name may sound a little unfamiliar if you have never used it before, but do not let that stop you. These are small, hard, golden brown seeds that you can usually find in the spice aisle, at an Indian grocery store, or online for just a few dollars. And here is why I want you to pay attention. Sometimes the most powerful tools for blood sugar are not sitting in an expensive supplement bottle. Sometimes they are sitting quietly on a grocery shelf, ignored by almost everyone. Fenugreek seeds are packed with a type of soluble fiber called galactomannan. Now, that sounds complicated, but what it does is very simple. When this fiber meets water inside your stomach, it swells and forms a thick gel. That gel slows down how quickly food leaves your stomach and moves into your small intestine. And when carbohydrates move more slowly, sugar enters your bloodstream more slowly. That means less of a spike, less of a crash, and less pressure on your pancreas to keep pumping out insulin. Think of it like turning a fire hose into a gentle stream. The sugar still comes in, but it does not flood your system all at once. And for people dealing with insulin resistance, that slower release can make a real difference in how they feel after breakfast, after lunch, and even throughout the day. The easiest way to use fenugreek is to take 1 teaspoon of the whole seeds, soak them in a glass of water overnight, and in the morning drink the water and eat the softened seeds before breakfast. The taste is a little bitter, so start small. If you cannot handle the texture, you can grind the seeds and stir a small amount into plain yogurt, eggs, or a smoothie. But do not rush it. This is strong fiber, and your gut may need a few days to adjust. The second food is cinnamon, but I need you to hear this carefully. Not all cinnamon is the same. Most cinnamon sold in regular grocery stores is cassia cinnamon, and while it may taste familiar, it contains more coumarin, a natural compound that can be hard on the liver when used in large daily amounts. The one I prefer for daily use is Ceylon cinnamon, often called true cinnamon. It has a softer flavor, a lighter color, and it is usually the better choice if you plan to use cinnamon consistently. Cinnamon contains natural plant compounds called polyphenols, and these compounds can help your insulin receptors respond better. In plain English, cinnamon may help your cells hear insulin's message a little more clearly. It can also slow how quickly your stomach empties after a meal, which again means sugar enters your blood more gradually. This is not about dumping half a bottle of cinnamon into your coffee and expecting magic. It is about using a small amount consistently. Start with 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon each day. You can work up to 1/2 teaspoon if it agrees with you. Add it to coffee, plain Greek yogurt, oatmeal, a smoothie, or even sprinkle it over apple slices with walnuts. The best time to use it is with a meal that contains carbohydrates, because that is when your body needs the most support handling glucose. Now the third food is one that most people walk right past, and that is broccoli sprouts. Not regular broccoli, not steamed broccoli from a frozen bag. I am talking about the tiny 3-day-old sprouts. These little sprouts are loaded with a compound called sulforaphane, and they can contain far more of it than mature broccoli. Sulforaphane is important because it works in a different place than the others. It helps support the liver. And this matters because many people wake up with high blood sugar before they have eaten a single bite. They go to bed thinking they did everything right. Then they check their fasting number in the morning and feel defeated. But often that morning spike is not from what you just ate. It is your liver releasing glucose while you sleep. In people with insulin resistance, that overnight glucose release can be too high. Broccoli sprouts may help calm that process and support healthier fasting numbers over time. You do not need a huge amount. A small handful, about 1/4 cup, added to a salad, sandwich, wrap, or eggs is enough to start. Just do not cook them hard because high heat can damage the compounds you are trying to protect. Eat them raw or barely warmed. So now you have 3 simple foods: fenugreek to slow the sugar flood, Ceylon cinnamon to support insulin response, and broccoli sprouts to help address that stubborn morning blood sugar problem. Small foods, quiet foods, inexpensive foods. But when used correctly, they can begin changing the way your body handles glucose from the inside out. Now let's move into the foods that can change the way your entire meal behaves once it enters your body. And the 4th food is avocado. I know some people hear the word avocado and immediately think, too much fat, too many calories, I should avoid that. But this is exactly where old diet advice has confused so many people. Not all fat is the enemy. In fact, the right kind of fat can be one of the most powerful tools for slowing down a blood sugar spike. Avocado is rich in monounsaturated fat, the same family of healthy fat found in olive oil. It also contains fiber, potassium, and compounds that help make a meal more satisfying. Here is why that matters. If you eat toast by itself, or rice by itself, or a potato by itself, that carbohydrate can break down quickly and push glucose into your bloodstream fast. But when you add half an avocado to that same meal, you put a brake on the process. The fat and fiber slow digestion, the glucose comes in more gently, and your pancreas does not have to panic. You are not removing the carbohydrate, you are changing the way your body receives it. That is a very different approach. Half an avocado a day is a simple place to start. Put it beside eggs in the morning. Mash it onto whole grain toast. Add it to a salad that includes beans or lentils. Slice it over a bowl instead of reaching for creamy dressing. And notice how you feel 2 hours later, because most people are surprised that they are not as hungry, not as shaky, and not hunting through the pantry for something sweet. The 5th food is chia seeds, and these tiny seeds are much more powerful than they look. If you have ever put chia seeds into water and watched them turn into a thick pudding, you have already seen exactly what they do inside your gut. Chia seeds are loaded with soluble fiber. When that fiber meets liquid, it forms a gel. And that gel slows the absorption of carbohydrates, almost like putting speed bumps in your digestive tract. Instead of sugar rushing into your blood all at once, it enters more slowly, more steadily, and with less drama. That means fewer spikes, fewer crashes, and fewer cravings. But chia seeds do not stop there. They also contain a plant-based omega-3 fat that can help support a calmer inflammatory environment in the body. And remember, inflammation is one of the reasons insulin has such a hard time getting its message through. When your body is inflamed, your cells become noisy. The insulin signal gets weaker. But when you begin calming that inflammation, the signal can become clearer again. Use 1 to 2 tablespoons of chia seeds a day. Stir them into plain Greek yogurt. Add them to a smoothie. Mix them into water with a squeeze of lemon and let them sit for 10 minutes before drinking. But please do not eat a big spoonful of dried chia seeds and then barely drink any water. This is fiber. It needs liquid. Give it water, give it time, and let it do its job. The 6th food is fatty fish, especially salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring. And this one works deeper than digestion. It does not just slow down the meal. It helps address one of the reasons your cells became resistant to insulin in the first place: chronic, low-grade inflammation. Think about inflammation like static on a radio. The message may still be there, but the signal is distorted. Insulin is trying to tell the cell, open up, let glucose in. But inflammation interferes with that message at the cell membrane. Fatty fish contains 2 powerful omega-3 fats called EPA and DHA. These fats help support healthier cell membranes and a calmer inflammatory response. And when the surface of the cell becomes healthier, insulin can communicate more effectively. That is why I often tell patients that eating fatty fish is not just good for the heart, it is also good for the metabolic system. Aim for 2 servings a week, about the size of your palm each time. If wild salmon is too expensive, do not worry. Canned sardines and canned mackerel are affordable, easy to find, and incredibly nutrient-dense. You can put sardines on whole grain crackers, mix mackerel into a salad, or bake salmon with lemon, garlic, and herbs. Keep it simple. The goal is consistency, not perfection. The 7th food is walnuts. Now, many people snack because they are hungry, tired, stressed, or bored. And the problem is not always the snack itself. The problem is what that snack does to your blood sugar. A cookie, a handful of crackers, or a sweet granola bar may feel harmless, but for someone with insulin resistance, it can create another spike, another crash, and another wave of hunger. Walnuts give you a better option. They contain healthy fats, fiber, protein, and plant-based omega-3s. That combination helps slow digestion, support fullness, and reduce the blood sugar impact of snack time. Walnuts are also supportive for the lining of your blood vessels, which matters because high blood sugar over time can damage those delicate vessels throughout the body. You do not need a huge bowl. A small handful is enough, about 1/4 cup or 7 to 10 whole walnuts. Eat them raw or dry roasted. Avoid the candied, honey-coated, chocolate-covered versions, because those turn a helpful food into dessert. Use walnuts to replace a processed snack, not to add extra calories on top of one. And when you put these 4 foods together, avocado, chia seeds, fatty fish, and walnuts, you start to see the pattern. We are not attacking blood sugar with fear. We are building meals that move slower, satisfy longer, calm inflammation, and give your insulin a better chance to work. That is how real change begins. Not with one extreme diet, but with small foods that quietly change the chemistry of every meal. Now let's talk about food number 8, and this one may surprise people who were told for years to be afraid of it. I am talking about whole eggs. Not egg whites only, not a sad little breakfast that leaves you hungry by 10 a.m. I mean the whole egg, yolk included. For decades, many older adults were told that egg yolks were the enemy, so they pushed eggs off the plate and replaced them with cereal, toast, muffins, orange juice, and so-called healthy breakfast bars. And what happened? Their cholesterol fear may have gone down for a moment, but their blood sugar often went up. A whole egg contains protein, healthy fat, vitamins, minerals, and almost no carbohydrate. That means it barely raises blood sugar on its own. But the real power of eggs is not just what happens at breakfast, it is what happens later. Doctors sometimes call this the second meal effect. When you start your day with protein and fat, instead of a bowl of sugary cereal or white toast, your blood sugar tends to stay steadier for hours. You walk into lunch with calmer numbers, you have fewer cravings, you are less likely to grab cookies, crackers, or another cup of sweetened coffee just to make it through the morning. And that is where the magic happens. Because better blood sugar is not only about one meal, it is about what one meal makes you do at the next meal, and the next one after that. For many people, 2 or 3 whole eggs in the morning can be a powerful breakfast foundation. Scramble them with spinach. Boil them ahead for the week. Make an omelet with peppers and mushrooms. Add half an avocado on the side, and now you have a breakfast that is steady, filling, and blood sugar friendly. Of course, if your doctor has told you to limit eggs because of a specific medical condition, follow that guidance. But do not replace eggs with a bowl of sugar and call it heart healthy. Food number 9 is apple cider vinegar, and this may be the fastest acting item on this entire list when it is used correctly. The active compound is acetic acid. It helps slow how quickly your stomach empties after a meal, which means carbohydrates enter your bloodstream more gradually. It may also help your muscles pull glucose out of the blood and use it for energy. And if you wear a glucose monitor or you check your sugar after meals, this is one of those things you may actually see on the numbers. But listen carefully, because how you use it matters. You do not drink apple cider vinegar straight, never. That acid can burn your throat, irritate your stomach, and damage your tooth enamel over time. The safe way is to take 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and dilute it in a full glass of water. Drink it about 10 to 15 minutes before a meal that contains carbohydrates. Not before every sip of coffee. Not all day long. Use it strategically before the meal where your blood sugar usually spikes the most. And if you are already taking insulin or medications that lower blood sugar, talk to your doctor first, because vinegar plus medication may drop your sugar faster than you expect. Food number 10 is lentils, and this is where I want you to rethink everything you have been told about carbohydrates. Lentils are a carbohydrate, yes, but they do not behave like white bread, white rice, candy, or sugary cereal. Lentils are packed with soluble fiber, resistant starch, and plant-based protein. That combination changes everything. Instead of glucose rushing into the bloodstream all at once, lentils release their energy slowly, steadily, and with much less chaos. They fill you up, feed the good bacteria in your gut, and help replace the refined starches that usually cause trouble. This is why I do not tell every patient to fear carbs. Some carbs damage your control. Other carbs help rebuild it. Lentils are one of those smarter carbs. You can use 1/2 cup to 1 cup of cooked lentils a few times a week. Make a warm lentil soup. Add them to a salad with olive oil and a splash of vinegar. Use them as a side dish instead of white rice or white potatoes. If your gut is not used to beans and lentils, start with a small portion and increase slowly. Too much too soon can cause bloating, and I do not want that to be the reason you quit. So now we have 3 more tools: eggs to stabilize your morning, apple cider vinegar to soften the spike after a carb-heavy meal, and lentils to prove that the right carbohydrate can actually work for your blood sugar instead of against it. And next, I want to show you what this looks like in real life, because one of my patients did not turn her numbers around by eating less food. She did it by eating smarter food. Now let me tell you about a woman I will call Margaret Thompson. Margaret was 64 years old, recently retired, living just outside Columbus, Ohio. When she first came to see me, she was not angry, she was scared. And I could see it before she even sat down. She held her glucose log in both hands like it was a bad report card. Her morning fasting numbers were often higher than she expected, sometimes even when she thought she had eaten perfectly the night before. Her doctor had already warned her that if things did not improve, another medication might be next. But what frightened Margaret most was not the medication. It was the memory of her mother. Her mother had lived with diabetes for years. First came the numb feet, then the vision problems, then the endless appointments, the fear, the feeling that her body had become something she could no longer trust. Margaret looked at me and said, "Dr. Miller, I do not want that to be my future." And that sentence stayed with me, because so many people feel the same way. They are not lazy. They are not careless. They are overwhelmed. They have been told to eat less, fear carbs, lose weight, take pills, and somehow figure it all out on their own. But with Margaret, we did not start by taking everything away. We started by adding the right foods in the right places. Her cereal breakfast became 2 eggs with half an avocado. Her afternoon cookie became a small handful of walnuts. Before her biggest carbohydrate meal, she used 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in a full glass of water. Twice a week, she added salmon or sardines. A few times a week, lentils replaced white rice or potatoes. She stirred Ceylon cinnamon into her morning coffee, and she added broccoli sprouts to her lunch. Nothing extreme, nothing dramatic, just small changes stacked one on top of another. And within weeks, Margaret told me something had changed. She was not crashing at 3 p.m. anymore. She was not waking up desperate for something sweet. Her numbers were not perfect overnight, but they were calmer. And that mattered, because calm numbers give people hope. Over the next few months, while working with her own doctor and tracking her readings carefully, Margaret improved enough that her doctor did not need to increase her medication the way they had expected. Now, I want to be very clear. Margaret did not throw away her prescriptions. She did not chase a miracle. She worked with her body, and she worked with her doctor. That is the point. The power was not in one magic food. It was in the combination. Fenugreek, chia, avocado, and lentils slowed the glucose down. Fatty fish, walnuts, and chia helped calm inflammation. Cinnamon and vinegar supported insulin response. Eggs stabilized her morning. Broccoli sprouts supported the liver's overnight glucose problem. Each food did one small job, but together they pushed her metabolism in the same direction. And that is how real change usually happens. Not with panic. Not with punishment, but with simple foods repeated consistently until the body finally starts listening again. So here is what I want you to do tonight. Do not try to change your entire life in 24 hours. Do not empty your kitchen, panic at every carbohydrate, or punish yourself for what you ate yesterday. Start small. Tonight, soak 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds in a glass of water so it is ready in the morning. Tomorrow, replace cereal or sweet toast with 2 eggs and half an avocado. Add 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon to your coffee or breakfast. Before your biggest carbohydrate meal, mix 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar into a full glass of water and drink it 10 to 15 minutes before eating. This week, replace white rice or white potatoes with lentils at least 2 times and add fatty fish to your plate twice. But please hear me clearly. If you take insulin or blood sugar medication, talk with your doctor and monitor your numbers, because these foods can help your sugar move down. Do not stop medication on your own. And if your highest number is still first thing in the morning, before you even eat, your liver may be making sugar while you sleep. Watch the next video right here, because I will show you why that happens and what you can do about it. I'm Dr. D. Miller, and this is Health with Dr. D. Miller.